How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today I wanted to talk about the question, if I can stop drinking alcohol on my own, why am I still drinking alcohol? First of all, I just want to say, look, it's got nothing to do with your morals, right? You're not insane or corrupted or stupid or anything like that. For me, it's really a skills issue. It's something that you're missing in terms of, getting past that day-to-day stuff, getting past that instant gratification mindset and that idea. And a lot of this is down to fear. There's a lot of fears that stop you from doing things into the long term, especially something like this, which is so embedded in our society. It's so embedded in who we are. When I was drinking, it was the last thing I wanted to do was to stop drinking, because I felt like I was a smoker, I was a drinker, I ate loads of red meat when I could, and I knew that smoking was bad for me, and I knew that one day I was going to stop smoking cigarettes. I knew I had to stop smoking cigarettes. I knew that eating a lot of red meat was bad for me, and that I would eventually have to cut down and maybe even cut out. But I always thought that drinking was something that was just a part of who I was as a person, who I was as part of my national culture, being Irish, being English, being from the Western world. This is what we did to relax, to socialize, to have fun, is we took a drink. And there was nothing wrong with drinking in itself, with consuming alcohol in itself. I always thought it was something to do with me as a person and my inability to moderate, and that if I could only moderate my alcohol consumption, everything would be all right. How far from the truth was I in that? And it was only when I stopped drinking for quite a while, to be honest with you, that I understood exactly what I'd been doing to myself, what had been happening to me. So although it's a cultural thing, it's something which I grew up with, it's something we all grow up with. We start off from a very young age believing that alcohol is a part of our lives. There's a lot of fear involved in stopping doing this, because you fear that you're going to be missing out on something. You fear that you're going to be a social outcast. You fear you're going to be mocked for what you're doing. Especially when it's not just you that's doing this. I mean, for most cases, you're surrounded by other people who are drinking as well. So that's a part of your group. And when you highlight it yourself and you say to you come out and you say, look, I'm not doing this to myself anymore because I believe that it's doing something harmful to me. So once I believe that, then, you're putting it out to the rest of the world, and you're putting it out to the rest of the world as far as you're concerned, to your mates, to your family, to, the people that are surrounding you. And, you're basically saying that what they're doing as well is wrong. So nobody likes to hear that kind of stuff. Nobody likes to say it. So there's a fear with that, right? There's a fear of missing out, that somehow you're going to be missing out on so much of what you feel were the benefits beforehand. You fear what your life is going to be like without the alcohol in your life anymore. That was one of the weirdest things for me, is you don't know what life is going to be like. It's this fear of the unknown, but at the same time, you presume that it's going to be bad. I think the fear that you have, it sort of breeds this negative way of thinking about the future, because, even though you're at a place in your life where you feel that that you have to make a change, because, you can feel the consequences of what you're doing, the repercussions to your health, to your mind, to your family, to your life in general, right? But there's this fear also of living without your crutch, something that you've gone back to again and again and again when you're feeling shit, when you're feeling like you've got a problem in your life and you can escape from it doing that, So it's that fear of facing life without the escape. And there's lots of reasons, I could go through this all day long with reasons why you can't stop. You know, the reasons why, you know, you can come up with, like I say, so many different benefits that if you really think about them, that, you know they're not truthful. But facing fear without an escape, you know, alcohol gives you this instant escape where, you know, if things start to get on top of you, you can sit down for a couple of hours and just get yourself blasted, and your brain just shuts down, or whatever it is that happens. But you know, there's no way you can think about that anymore. I don't think there's a lot of truth in that, because I've had drinking sessions where I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I mean, and it goes into this deep. I used to go into this deep place for me where there was no reasoning. You know, there was no reason in it. There was just, you know, all that was left was feeling sorry for myself and thinking about the negatives. Or, you know, you get distracted by other people, but that's a part of life anyway. You know, facing life without that escape for me has been building a life I don't want to escape from. You know, when you're drinking, you're building this life that you consistently want to escape from, because reality becomes something which is not worth facing. You know, you're doing something in your life which is, it's bad. I mean, like I say, there's consequences when those consequences get to that stage where you start to really think about things, and then you start to move on. You say, oh, I've got to change this, because, you know, what's going to happen? And you start, I mean, we're one of the only creatures on the planet that can really think about the future and put ourselves into that position and think, well, you know, if I'm like this now, what's going to happen in a year's time or 5 years' time? So the real fear of missing out should be what you're missing out on because you are drinking alcohol, because you're poisoning your life, because you've got all these consequences in your life. You know, the fear of what's possible in your life without alcohol. You know, fear that possibility of what you're doing to yourself with alcohol in your life. Fear the unknown things that are going to happen to you if you don't stop. I mean, I think if you're honest with yourself, you can sort of guess what's going to happen to you if you don't stop drinking, just by extrapolating it out and multiplying the things that are happening to you right now. Fear about a life of having to live with a crutch for the rest of your life. You know, fear all those things rather than fearing, you know, what's going to happen when you stop drinking alcohol. Because I can tell you from experience that this is by far the most powerful thing that I've ever done. The most important decision that I ever made in my life was to stop drinking alcohol and to push myself through those first few weeks and months. You know, and it's not an easy thing to do, right? It's a black and white thing, and that's what you have to focus on in the beginning. That black and white thing of stopping drinking alcohol, and then you move on to something which is a lot more powerful, and that's changing yourself, changing the way you live your life, and making sure that you change and you turn into a person that never wants to go back to drinking alcohol. That's where the power lies. The power doesn't lie in stopping drinking alcohol. That's just the starting point. So, look, we've got a book called 10 Steps to Stop Drinking Alcohol. You can download it by clicking on the link down below. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Like I say, it's a very simple book. It will help you to just get started, to get your engine running, so to speak, and to get that first movement. You know, oftentimes it's just stepping across that line and saying to yourself, I'm not going to do this again. That's the important thing. But there's a few tips in there that can help you to get started and to maintain that momentum as you're moving forward. So click on the link down below, and I will see you again in the next video. Take care of yourself. I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.